Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to another exclusive extra interview of Final Cut. Today, I'm joined by a man who has worked 2 years at Lionsgate, so I'm expecting he's learned a little bit in those 2 years. So let's find out what he's learned. Ladies and gentlemen, award-winning director, William Wayne.
Hi, thanks, Dean. Hi, Michael.
What's up?
Okay.
Yep. Oh, by the way, just so if anyone doesn't know, Mr. Wayne, yes, I will be calling that as a bit of a homage to Batman. Mr. Wayne has actually won a Best Director for Lost. How do you pronounce it again? Pronunciation.
Yeah. So it's Los Angeles with an AS at the end. Yeah, and it's a movie. It's a feature film, and it's about a famous actress who goes missing, and there's a mysterious connection to an actress that went missing 30 years ago, and both are named Angela. So hence the name Los Angeles.
Yeah, because what it was, my brain was trying to comprehend angels, but instead all it came up with Angeles, but it just came up with Los Angeles. That's what it came up with. See, even the greatest podcasters still have the occasional blot. So you've told the story to me and Fraser, but before we begin, as I said, you worked at Lionsgate for 2 years. What did you learn in those 2 years, and how has it helped you in your career thus far?
I started off in the acting, and so I would say just even learning like the office politics and learning how a film kind of comes to fruition and the marketing of the film was really important. So I kind of learned all those things. That was my first really office job too. So all those things kind of held into play. Going on auditions as an actor, I never really understood the other side of it. I just kind of understood the actor's philosophy and what was going on in my kind of brain. So that was really beneficial. Understanding, I guess you'd say, the suits, on the other end and what they're looking for. So I learned quite a bit, and it was a lot of fun because everybody loved film, and so you're kind of thrusted in this fun environment in a way. So a lot of my job was, first off, I was an intern. I was hired on originally as an intern, and then I became a project manager of new media. So that was kind of my kind of what I was in charge of, and it was a lot of fun, seeing all these wonderful films, and then you help promote the film.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, what advice would you give someone who wants to work either in a movie studio or for a movie studio?
Wow. Well, I'd say to get as much experience as possible when you get a chance. They have all the, at least they did before, they have like possibilities for internships. So when you're in school, it's important, I think, to apply for internships. That was very important. And the main thing is just be tenacious, because some of the coworkers I had, submitted to all these different production companies, and then eventually one of them would hit. But I know one of my friends submitted to I think 15 or 16 over and over and over again until she was able to get an interview. And then of course she blew the interview out of the way, so she out of the water. So she was very she was ready by that point. So yes, that's what I would say. And all the film knowledge and whatever department you're going to go into, that's very important. So if your forte is like marketing or promotions, or if it's development, or if it's editing or post-production, I'd say just research, find out as much as you can, learn as much as you can, and just put that into your submission and your interviews, I'd say. But it definitely helps if you know somebody, they kind of have some kind of reference in regarding you, but it's not always the case where you have to know somebody. I mean, sometimes they just your resume stands out in a way. I'm going to put these headphones on because I think that way I won't echo. I don't know if I was echoing, but let me see here.
I don't think I've noticed anything different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Who were your influences growing up? As in, who were your actor and director influences growing up?
Wow, that's a good question. Okay, well, I really love film noir, and I love like old school films, and I was kind of raised with my parents' influences. So they loved black and white movies. So I kind of watched black and white movies growing up. And so, growing up, I would say, I was watching Spartacus. I was watching probably movies that were a little bit beyond my age group there. But you know, uh, let's see, like David Lean movies, Dr. Zhivago. Yeah, I loved Dr. Zhivago. Omar Sharif was amazing in that. I loved his epic movies were just something. Bridge Over the River Kwai, Peter O'Toole movie. What's that? I don't know if you can hear my dog growling at me, but yes, she needs. I'll be feeding her as we speak. Yeah, so all those actually British movies, Alfred Hitchcock. I loved watching all those amazing, old movies. Like Vertigo was just amazing. North by Northwest, I grew up watching, Strangers on the Train. Actually, that was different, but yeah, all those. And then Jimmy Stewart. I love Jimmy Stewart. I loved. As I get older, though, my influences have changed. I notice I like Humphrey Bogart movies, and I like John Huston movies, and I like a little bit, I guess, a little bit post World War II movies, like that they had that grittiness and that film noir, like Out of the Past and Gilda. So yeah, and A Touch of Evil. So a lot of black and white movies, for which which had that kind of grittiness and that kind of raw, kind of like philosophy on life coming out of the that World War II era.
Mm-hmm. Not a bad thing. Definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So as far as your career goes, Mr. Wayne, what have been the highlights?
Oh, the highlights. Okay, well, that's an easier question to answer than to speak about all those great directors. Okay, so my highlights are definitely getting into Method Fest. So we got into the Method Fest Film Festival like March of 2019, and we premiered it there, and we had a theater of like 450 people, and that was just mind-blowing to me. It was seeing a live audience watching your film there was nothing better. And then after that, I'm thinking it would be Film Threat Awards. So then Film Threat magazine, which I got a chance to read growing up. Now all of a sudden, full circle, here I am at the Film Threat Awards. And I won Best Director and Best Indie Film made for under 100,000. So those two events, which almost were like a year apart, was definitely the highlight of my film career.
Yeah. And by the way, if anybody does want to watch his movie Los Angeles, it is actually on Amazon Prime, and it's on the English version anyway. I can't really say anything for any other version, but as far as the UK goes, it is on there because it's on my Amazon Prime at the minute. I've just had to try and find it. Although I must admit, it's kind of hard trying to spell Los Angeles when the only thing you've got on your mind is Los Angeles. So I will say it is quite hard.
Cheers to that. Yes. Yeah. So you just got to remember it's Lost and then Angela with an S at the end. So it's about two Angelas.
Yeah. And so just remember, whoever your favorite Angela is, whether it's your old high school sweetheart, your old crush, or your wife, even, just remember it's Angela's, not Angeles, as in Los Angeles. But let's move on before I literally have Los Angeles in my head. You're an actor, a director, which is obvious because Los Angeles is actually one of your movies. I don't know what's that. Producer, cinematographer, editor, and writer. Could you literally if I cloned you, could you literally make an entire movie?
Well, I caught you there on saying cinematographer. So I didn't do the cinematography. So I had some great cinematographers and camera operators that I definitely could not do the movie without them. But one good thing about doing a movie yourself, right? Or not relying on so many different people is you're not at the mercy of this schedule or this amount of money you need to get it done, or this particular company. However, yes, I have to say, even though I was like the editor and the director and one of the star actors, right? I relied on some amazing filmmakers. So my sound engineer was amazing. My cinematographers were amazing. Maybe I should just shout out their names a little bit as we go, but
Why not?
Okay, Eric Badaunst, Anna Maria Manso, they were great cinematographers. I had a bunch of other camera operators because this is what happens when you're shooting a movie for under $100,000, right? You sometimes the schedules don't match others, work schedules. So Cliff Calabro was my sound engineer. He was amazing. He really brought the film to life. And then, I have to say I had an amazing cast. Oh, I have to say my assistant editors were gamers, but they just had a knack for editing. So they would come in and help me whenever I'd be stuck. I'd be like, I'd hit a wall. They'd be like, hey, listen, you should try this and this and this and this. So Chris Rossi was an amazing, Michael Ray, my co-producer, he helped. He's actually a Brit. And then Sophie, the program, she was like an amazing editor. She was actually British also, now that I think about it. I had quite a few connection there to the UK. Speaking of which, my main actors, okay, oh, that's my dog. Excuse, I'm feeding her as we speak. My main actors, John Jacobs is British. And then my actress that played Angie Malone, also British. Her name is Charlotte Lewis. She was in The Golden Child. And then I had, let's see, Jane Crowley, also British. She was an actress. She plays my mom in the movie. So we had like a good UK connection in this movie, believe it or not.
That I can believe, to be honest. I definitely can believe it. Everybody just wants to hire the Brits. If it's not for one thing, it's for another thing.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I was searching very hard to find my bad guy in the movie, and this is a story I've never really told anyone, but I was searching very hard to find my bad guy, and his character's name is Walt Warshaw. And I think, subconsciously I got my inspiration from Robert Shaw, because I was kind of a fan of Robert Shaw. And, he was great in The Sting. He was great in Jaws. He was great in so many movies. And so I think that's how I came up with the name Walt Warshaw. At any rate, I was auditioning a lot of actors to play this famous, like, iconic director, right, who takes you down kind of a twisty path in the movie.
Yeah.
And you start to suspect him, as to why this famous actress, Angela, has gone missing. And I just could not find a guy that was the right age group, but also had that kind of like dangerous side, but also the charismatic side, and who also had the intelligence and the acting chops to pull it off. Like I would get like 3 out of the 4, but maybe the actor would be a little bit too young, or he'd be a little bit too old, because he also has a relationship with the main character, who's Angela, and she's in her 20s. So I needed to kind of find the right thing. And then at one of my actresses' baby showers I went to, and we're about to start the movie. All of a sudden, John Jacobs, or this guy that walks in, I was looking at him and I'm like, gosh, I think that's John Jacobs, because he did a bunch of independent movies. And he looks at a trailer that I shot ahead of time just to kind of start out the movie.
Yeah.
And I shot just like little scenes here and there, but just for my references, for visual references, for actor references. Oh, yeah, my dog's going to be mad at me here a second. Okay, sorry about that. And so he got a chance to see that trailer, and he's like, man, you're going to have a really great time. This is going to be a fun thing. And I'm looking at him, not positive like he's John Jacobs, but I'm thinking he is. And then of course I introduced myself. He says he's John Jacobs. And then I realized, because I'd seen a couple of his movies, and actually when I moved to LA, one of my very first auditions was supposed to be for a movie he was going to direct, but it ended up not happening. And so I was like, oh man, but that was a John Jacobs film. So I was kind of excited. I knew he could do the role, having seen some of his movies, and he just took it to another direction. And being British, right? You guys are familiar with all the fantastic British actors, right? From like Olivier to John Gielgud to Peter O'Toole to then you go into the guys that were drinking on stage that had the amazing film, like Richard Burton, that were amazing. But John Jacobs, I expected him to be more British actor, and he tried to warn me. He's like, I'm kind of method and this and this. He was very, very method. So he was kind of referring to me as my character throughout the whole entire shoot. And he was kind of referring to himself, and he was just like very method, more method than what I anticipated. So, but yeah, he did a fantastic job. And actually at the Method Film Festival, he won the outstanding performance.
Wow.
And also up for I think that award was like Ethan Hawke, and it was Edward James Olmos, and they did win other awards, but John won the outstanding performance award. So
wow.
So that was really that was shocking to me. I was really out of my element and everything. We had a red carpet, and the film festival treated us like kings, really. Yeah, this is a big change coming from my little editing room, which was my living room in my 1-bedroom apartment. So all of a sudden they take you to like one of those, it was one of the high class places there in Beverly Hills, and you're eating and you have Getty Images and all these places like taking pictures of you. I was really just kind of like blown away. So
were you a bit nervous? That was as well?
Oh, extremely. Yeah, I was just like completely out of my element. Yeah, but I loved it. I was basically in just a dark room editing for every day I had off, because I was bartending, right, to help finance my film.
Yeah.
So going from that to the Method Fest was quite a reward.
Yes, you were announced as a new festival director at Seattle Film Festival. First of all, congratulations. Second question: how much of an honor was it to be given that title?
Wow. It was kind of a little bit unexpected, but I loved it. I was a judge in 2020. During the pandemic, everything happened. I came up to Seattle and I contacted the festival. Being kind of back in Seattle, I didn't really know exactly how I was going to kind of work this into film. So I had the opportunity to be a judge of some of the films, and I had a great time doing that. And then in 2021, I was kind of busy editing projects, music videos. I did some different kinds of documentaries. So I wanted to reconnect again this last year. And so I found out they were going to be putting it into the theater, back into the theater, for the first time since the pandemic. And they were going to do this awards show gala and this and this and this. And I think I kind of got what they were looking for. So I said, I'm totally available to do this. But I think I need to do it with my co-producer, if I was to, who's also a Brit, Michael Ray, and his producing skills are amazing. So we tried to do the best we could and rock that. And I learned quite a bit from my film festival, with my film. Through film festivals, going to this festival, going to this award show, going to this festival with Los Angeles, I kind of, I guess, subconsciously was like paying attention to what was great, what was about this festival, and what was awesome about this one, and what worked well about this festival. So tried to just kind of implement those things. But it's so inspiring, to see all these filmmakers and to see all these filmmakers bring their films to a festival and champion these filmmakers. is a really special experience. I love doing that.
How was it? How was it having I can't get the words out now. I'm having podcaster's block. I apologize. How was it having a co-director of a festival?
Oh, it was wonderful because I said to him, I was like, I could, I was offered to direct the festival, and I said, I could do that, but I kind of need someone to blame if something goes wrong. So, right, and he was British, and so he has a very nice, dry sense of humor. And he goes, "I am that man for you. I can do that." So I was like, okay, perfect. So, no, it was wonderful because he kind of is able to do things that is not my forte, and vice versa. So I think I'm a little bit more creative, and I'm able to do a certain kind of more creative filmmaking kind of things, like more of the programming and more of the editing kind of things, and he's able to do some fantastic producing things. So it kind of worked out well. So they got two for the price of one, really.
Had it always been a dream of yours, or was it just the case of you never considered it?
No, yeah, when I was in college, as you guys refer to as university, right? And in my last year, I was I was majoring in communication, and my last year I became interested in drama, started doing drama, and I'm going to walk with you here to our door so I can let my dog out. But yeah, I became interested in drama, and in the process, I started learning plays, and I started doing acting and whatnot. Yeah. And then what happened is when I moved to LA, I noticed, like, I would go on auditions, and sometimes several auditions for the same role. And then it'd be years before I get the tape back, right, of my performance or this or that. And so I started kind of like going into filmmaking without actually really studying it at the time. So I kind of eventually started studying filmmaking, kind of just keeping my options open, never wanting to be a director. And then I wrote my script, and I tried to give it to some director friends of mine to direct. And they weren't interested because they said, "Oh, it's going to be too much money to shoot this and this and that." And at that time, I was, technology was changing a little bit. So, consumer cameras, right, which you can hold in your hand, right, can give you a film look. And it was switching to digital at that time. And the budgets were changing, right? The capabilities were changing. And so I was kind of trying to talk these directors into shooting it just very, like, ultra low budget, but they weren't really biting on it, and they wanted, this budget or that budget. So I started taking film classes, and I started taking directing classes and cinematography and editing classes. And so I kind of went the long way about it. I wrote a script, and then I had to learn how to do it. So I took, and I had already graduated. So now I'm taking like LACC, Glendale Community College, Pasadena Community College, all three. I'm taking film classes and bartending at the same time, trying to bring myself up to speed. And so, I never even anticipated on directing, but then the opportunity arose, and my connections from those places were my crew, right? Yeah. And so I had that one summer to shoot it and start it and launch it. So that's what I did. And I put up our film on Kickstarter and raised a little bit of money. And then I had a little bit of money, and that's how we started our film. And then I just kind of shot it on my days off from bartending. And eventually we filmed it, and I was editing for a while. And when we got into Method Fest, that kind of changed things. And I realized, like, I don't know where I'm going to go from here, but whatever the opportunities are, I'm going to take them. So with the Seattle Film Festival, that's kind of a long answer to how I ended up there. I was not going to say no, in other words, to any opportunities, even though now my ambitions were to direct. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say no, because my ambition was never to direct originally. And that's only brought all kinds of wonderful things. So I'm not going to say no to anything, and I'm just going to keep my options open from now on. That's what I kind of figured.
It's just a natural evolution, if you like.
Yeah, right. And I loved I loved the whole directing process. The editing process was a little more lonely because you're just there in the dark room, but I loved the filmmaking and the directing process. And then the Seattle Film Festival, I loved working with people and so this whole evolution process, like you were saying, it's just kind of in the same world and it's very inspiring. And yeah, I kind of lucked into it also.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to keep your options open. So that's what I did.
Yeah. Right. So if somebody did want to submit a movie to next year's Seattle Film Festival, we'll use Mr. Fraser as an example because he has actually just wrote his own comic book.
Oh, excellent.
So if Mr. Fraser was to send Paranormal Patrollers to next year's Seattle Film Festival, how would he go through the process of submitting it, and what advice would you give him?
Well, I would first off, we have a website, theseattlefilmfestival.com. So theseattlefilmfestival.com, and we have a submission page on that website. So you click on it, and then it will take you to Film Freeway, where you can submit. And I don't know if you already are on Film Freeway or have a login or whatever, but that's kind of like one of the standards as far as that goes. And so so it will take you right to our submission page, and so it's that simple.
It's that simple. Would you look forward to Mr. Fraser's application if he did decide to go through Seattle Film Festival?
I will. I will be very excited. So, Michael, this is a screenplay that you wrote. Is it a feature or is it a short?
Oh
no, it's an actual comic book I put on Webtoons.
He has
no kidding.
He made a comic book.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And so, is it already completed, or what stage are you in?
We have the first issue out. We're currently working on issues 2 and 3.
This is okay. And what's the name of it?
It's called Paranormal Patrollers. It's on Webtoons.
Wonderful. Well, you know what? You don't even have to go as far as submitting it. I'm going to be looking it up right as soon as this is over.
Oh, thank you.
Just one thing you should be aware of: if you do look it up and you do hear the audio, you'll unfortunately run into our dear voiceover man, Mr. Tasker, voicing Professor Fit. Hold on, how does he do it, Fraser? Hold on. I'm going to try and do my best impression. It's not very good, but you'll get the gist of it. Because he does a very good impersonation of someone called Professor Phil Woods. That's why I'm the visionary. That's why he's the voiceover artist.
Love it.
Oh, you just wait until you hear his Joker. It's actually quite terrifying.
Oh, dang. Okay, right on. Well, this is fantastic. Yeah, I would love to read it. This is going to be exciting for me. Awesome. Michael, you're like an aficionado of comic books, is what I'm taking from this.
Oh, I love comics. At one point before I moved out here, I had over 1,000 comic books in my collection.
Wow.
That's why he's the encyclopedia.
Yeah. Which ones are your favorites? I mean, it's hard to pick one over another at that point, but
some of the ones I really like are Superman, Batman, Shazam, Green Lantern, Aquaman, and then if we're talking Image, it'd be Invincible. Radiant Black's actually really good. Rogue Sun. I still have to check out Dead Lucky. We had the creator of that one on this podcast, and all the images I've seen for it are amazing.
Wow. Did you ever see that Image documentary on the comics? Oh, I saw that on Amazon, I think it was, but it was an amazing documentary. I'll get back to you on that one.
That one's awesome.
Did you see that documentary?
Yeah, I watched that documentary actually.
What was the name of that one? I forgot the name. It might have been, I don't know if that was Image Revolution or not. I was just Googling it on my computer here just now as we spoke. But that documentary was so fun, and it talked about how they broke off of Marvel and it's just created their own. And yeah.
If I recall, it's called The History of Image Comics, So Much Damage.
Oh, gotcha. Wow. my dog here is trying to get my attention. Sorry, guys.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Um,
I don't know
yeah,
if it's
so
still on TV, but there's a really good Jack Kirby one of his time away at war and everything and how it influenced his comics.
oh wow, legend right there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so Michael's the next yeah, if you had your, not to detour us here, but Michael, if you had your pick to go with any comic, which one would you do? Would you go DC? Would you go Marvel? Would you go Image?
I probably want to go with Image. A lot of their stuff, they own their own books, and I feel like so much has been done with already established characters that if I get to play in my own sandbox, I feel like I have zero restrictions. Like when you do your own films and you get to run
Yeah.
wild with everything you have.
Yeah, that's everything. I love that because with my film, Dean, to go back to my film a second, with my film, one issue that I might have had is if producers get their fingers into your film too much and they take away your cut, right? And the one thing that I loved by kind of financing it and producing it myself, right? But I had a producer, Layla was a very good producer, but as far as financing wise, I didn't have to worry about them changing it to this particular genre or that particular thing, right? Which was different than my original vision or different than what I wanted, what I thought would work. So I could take the plane ride down and crash or kind of succeed, up to me, but it wasn't going to be dictated by somebody else. Yeah, so that's one thing I think is important for filmmakers to be able to do those kind of things on their own. Anyways, yes.
You've
What's
actually
your
been on a show I really like too. I don't know if you'd remember the show though.
Which one?
Angel. You were on the episode where
yes, yeah. It was just that was that's a good show. That was a spinoff, right, of Buffy. And so that was kind of a fun one. Yeah. That was off the comic book originally. I forgot that was originally a comic, huh?
Yeah, they've when the show came out, they actually made like a sequel comic that takes place after. I believe it's called Angel the Fall.
Oh wow. I didn't know that. Okay. So you guys keep talking to me. I'm just gonna walk with you guys because I have my earphones in and take my dog outside here this time. But go ahead.
I can actually recap the episode.
How so, Michael?
So in the episode, Doyle's wife comes to town to get a divorce from him because she's seeing a new suitor. So he ends up coming down to the bachelor party because but he's unaware about this ritual that once you give your blessing, the new husband cuts your brain out and eats it. So they learn from all your mistakes.
Yes.
And he just happens to bring Angel to the party, which nobody's thrilled about when they find out that he's a vampire.
That's right. That is right. It was actually that was kind of a fun episode. You're right. And it had that one had some great actors that actually at the time I didn't realize who they were, right? And they went on to do all kinds of things. But Carlos Jacot, I remember, was in that episode, and he had some great writing credits too. So, and even I believe even like the stand-in of one of the actresses had like an amazing acting career too. But from that episode, but that was a fun one. Yeah, you are a fan.
Yeah, I love that show. When one of the first jobs I got, I actually went out and I bought like every single season, and then for one of the Christmases, my wife got me like 2 of the big graphic novels for it.
Oh wow, very cool. Well, Dean, so are you a comic book fan as well then?
To be honest with you, I never used to be, but since our dear comic book encyclopedia has been making me a bit envious, I have actually been trying to catch up as much as I can. Although saying that, when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man came out, I literally watched the entire 90s cartoon animated series, just so I actually had a bit of an idea about what was actually going on. And It's been sort of, I'll say growing from there, but it's not been growing the way that Mr. Fraser's has been. Although I will say one thing, I have actually dipped into the world of comic books and actually bought my lady some Harley Quinns.
Ooh.
She likes Harley Quinn, specifically Margot Robbie's. Even though me, Fraser, and Nathan still insist, is it Tara Strong that we think is the best Harley Quinn, or is it Arlene Sorkin, Fraser?
It's Arlene Stoker.
I thought it was Tara Strong.
We kind of go back and forth on that from the animated series to the game.
Yeah, wow. we do kind of. But we definitely don't go back on which is the best Joker in Batman, which is Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, even though the producer disagrees with us.
Well, I love Mark Hamill's Joker. Oh, man, he is talented.
Oh, you should hear our Nathan's.
Oh, wow.
Well, put it this way. I call him the discount Mark Hamill, so that's all you really need to know.
Okay, so it's not up to that par. Okay, got it.
He's not far off it though, if I'm being brutally honest.
Oh, okay.
When this bit's on, I'll actually get a recording you did for us, and I'll play it you back just so you have an idea. So it doesn't sound too shocking when we meet again and he is with us.
Okay.
Just getting back to the questions. You actually had a selection to the 2005 Tribeca Film Festival. Have you now officially in your head come full circle?
Yeah, that's funny. I kind of feel, because for that film, I was an actor, and I was just excited to get to the Tribeca Film Festival as an actor. But it doesn't, it doesn't really compare as a filmmaker, to be honest, right? Being a filmmaker and going through the festival circuit, and just creating your film, it's very you're working on every level that you can, and just trying to survive, above your budget and above the problems that are happening, and it's just much more rewarding and stimulating as a filmmaker. So it is full circle, and to come back as a filmmaker, something that I never ever aspired to be, is so much fun. And I can't believe I didn't realize, the possibilities in filmmaking, and thinking like originally just doing acting. I can't ever imagine just doing acting, because, the involvement, the amount of energy, the amount of creativity is just it's kind of night and day. And so, to answer your question, it is full circle, but I would never be able to I would never be able to just go back to acting, because I have so many projects that I have kind of lined up and would like to do, and it's like it's just so it's hard to explain, because you're relying on all these different people to help make your film work, but it's just a great experience. Okay, now that's not my dog.
No, that's my dog.
Still bearing a grudge against me, Fraser. I can't even ask this question about Cam. Oh. Right, well, Fraser.
All good. Yes. Beautiful dog. Love it.
Yeah, that's my Blue.
Love it. He wants your attention.
Yeah, she usually does.
Would you go for, say, director of Cannes Film Festival?
Oh yeah, yes, of course, definitely. But that is, I think they have their I think that's like Terry. I forgot his last name, but they've had amazing directors of that festival, and amazing grand jury presidents. But that would be an amazing film festival to be a part of, in any particular way. Yeah. I mean, I love being the co-director of the Seattle Film Festival, because I have a lot of creative control, but I would just be part of the film festival in any capacity, to be honest, because it's just a lot of fun championing those films and seeing these filmmakers come through, hearing their stories, you know, helping them promote their films, whether it's with bringing in Getty Images to help, or news, or all those different kinds of venues or media.
Yeah. A lot of people, some people I've had on here have actually done animation or video games as voiceover or done motion capture. Not so much. I don't know if you would actually be interested in doing like motion capture or voiceover, but would you like to direct a video game or a DLC video game?
I would. I don't know of any in particular, but I would. And that's something I would totally go and immerse myself into and learn. But yeah, I would definitely would.
Is there any franchises that you'd like, or has any of your game been saying you must do this, you must say this?
You know, I'm not even sure which ones, like, and throw out some to me, and then I can tell you maybe as far as my thoughts.
I'll tell you what. Actually, Fraser can help me out because he's. I think Fraser's more of a gamer than I am. What about Call of Duty?
Oh wow, that would be great. Love it.
There is rumors of a Call of Duty movie being made, but it's kind of like it's being made, but it's not being made. What about Batman?
Yeah, the Arkham. I love Batman, but it's been done so well, you know. And I love the Christopher Nolan Batman, and I actually love the Batman, you know, with another famous Brit there, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, Pattinson. Yeah. And that one was, I thought his performance was really good. I really enjoyed his Batman. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I mean, I bet you can't go against Nolan either. So
yeah.
I would love to do that one. I definitely have ideas, but I don't know how you could surpass those guys' visions.
In fairness, I was actually thinking about how you can't really surpass the Arkham series, but it doesn't mean that right.
Right.
I actually have one on tip of my tongue. What about Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I think they have do they have another one with 90s version right now with a new game there with,
I think it's either Vice City or San Andreas. I forget which one.
Oh, okay, that might be it, because I think they have another one with like Michael Madsen, and they have Danny Trejo in one. Yeah. And a bunch of those guys. Yeah. And so that might be a new one that's out there.
I found out something about Grand Theft Auto, if you want to hear it. I'm not quite sure if it's true, but I have read it from multiple sources. In the 90s, allegedly, there was rumors of an Eminem-led GTA movie, but apparently the co-creators said no.
I didn't know that.
Actually. Trying to think. Well,
you did have a Punisher team up in the comics.
Well, what was that, Michael?
Oh, in the comic books, they actually had Eminem team up with the Punisher at one point.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, just wondering what else there is. Saying that, I do play a lot of Aliens Fireteam, so how about the Alien franchise?
Wow. Yeah, the Alien franchise is a good one, isn't it? That John, you know, from Ridley Scott to or the Titanic director, yes, thank you. Gosh, that was something else. That was like an amazing one. Can you hear my dog barking in the background? I'm gonna have to grab her again here. Sorry, guys. Okay,
that's
1 second here.
Actually, you know what? Actually,
come on in here. Okay.
It's not very often I do this, but since you're a director, if I give you a game, could you give me a really, really quick idea of how you would actually roll with it?
If I understand the game, I think.
Okay. Fraser doesn't even know. Well, Fraser. I'm assuming Fraser has played this game. Let's just say I played this game where I actually stayed in one spot for an hour and a half, and then the minute I moved, I died. It's Alien Isolation.
Oh wow! I don't know. I might have to. Yeah, I might have to take a rain check on that one and get back to you on it.
I'll give you a short version.
Okay.
It's about as un-alien a game as you can have, because there's no
Okay.
weapon playing Amanda Ripley's daughter, who's basically looking for her mum. There's no weapons whatsoever, so literally you cannot kill the alien. The only thing you can really do is explore and hide.
Oh, okay.
And the only thing
What?
is, this was the biggest problem with the game. The
Okay.
AI was too strong. It was too good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it would never follow the same pattern twice. You would literally you'd be in a spot, because this is actually true. I actually did play this. This is what made me think I can't play this. I actually stayed in the same spot for about an hour and a half, because I literally went through, right, he's gone. Is he going to come back, or can I move? But the only thing is, the minute you say you're going to move, he comes back. And then the minute you do go, after getting bored, you die.
Oh, yeah. I would love that. Love a chance. I mean, Ripley was a great character, first off, and yeah. But I don't know. I don't really know that much on that game. So, but it sounds like it's really suspense that really leads that, which is great in filmmaking. So suspense and horror. So that's what it's about, and fear in filmmaking, you know, and showing that danger. So
if I was going to describe it as anything, I would basically say a weaponless alien, as in Ridley Scott's Alien. I would basically say that, just for
wow. Yeah, Ridley Scott's Alien was so good, wasn't it? That whole world. Oh my God, it's bringing that from nothing. Yeah, so that was basically those guys running around that ship with no weapons to combat that alien. That was, yeah. And then the unknown. That was like, gosh.
Yeah, that's literally what Alien Isolation is.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be fantastic. It would be hard to top Alien, the movie Alien. So I don't know if I'd want to try that, because Ridley Scott did such a great job, and those actors were fantastic. Wasn't that John Hurt in that too?
Yeah.
Or did they have was Ian Holm in that? I feel like he was in that.
John Hurt was in that. Yaphet Kotto was in that. Veronica Cartwright was in that. Tom Skerritt was in that.
Tom Skerritt, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you said? Sorry.
Tom Skerritt.
And then who was the last person?
Hold on a minute. I'm trying to think. Tom Skerritt, Veronica Cartwright.
Oh, Veronica Cartwright. Yes, yes. What a cast, huh? And that was way back in the day, in the 80s.
Exactly. But things evolve, times go on. I would actually think of Isolation. If I was going to do Isolation, this is my sort of professional opinion, my reputation. I would actually do Isolation. I would sort of build on the formula of what Alien has done, but I would not go full Ridley Scott. I would think, right, how can I make this? How can I sort of make this different, but sort of keep the tone the same? But the only thing is, with Alien Isolation, it's got to be more. I'm trying to think of a word. It's got to be more shocking, more sweaty, if you like. Because the one thing I'm pretty sure everyone who has played Alien Isolation will agree is that you sweat a lot, because you're constantly and doubting whether what you're seeing is real. It's a lot of decision making where you're like, do I do it this way or do I not? So yeah, as long as if you made an Alien Isolation movie, the only things I would say is keep a lot of the things that make it Alien, but make it so people will literally choose Isolation over Ridley Scott's Alien, in terms of the gore, in terms of how everyone feels, because obviously Alien, like Jaws, scarred a generation. So if you did an Alien Isolation movie and it scarred 3 generations, then I would consider that movie well done.
I see. Oh man. Well, yeah, that your description pretty much. I would go for that. I'm going to hire you as a director for that.
Oh, bless you, mate. Oh,
yes.
You have no idea what I've got in my head. You generally.
Wow. What? And the more that you know how to composite, and the more that you know how to do all these special effects, the better off you're going to be. So I say let's start learning now with these special effects, and we'll rock that movie.
But I will say one thing. Fraser does know this. I am more of a fan of old school horror than I am, I'll say, the new school, because I literally hate CGI in horror. That's the biggest, I would say, the biggest turn off I have for newer days horror. It's like if you put CGI in horror, then it's not real. And I thought that was the whole point of a horror movie, is to try and keep it as real as possible.
Right. Yeah, I had no CGI in my movie.
That's great. That's good enough for me, mate.
Okay. Cheers. Well, then you have to take a look. Yeah. So no CGI. Although, it is nice in some regards for filmmakers. I noticed that they're able to make certain worlds, right, especially in sci-fi, without creating it, manually. So that's nice. So taking certain aspects, but not like having your whole film maybe in like a being shot in a studio. I think would be important.
If you could incorporate 80s style special effects, then it's not so bad, because that's what made every horror movie great that used it. It wasn't real, but it still felt real.
Yes. Wait, are you talking like 80s films like John Carpenter 80s horror films, or are you talking like those were some amazing films too, huh?
I used the Terminator as a prime example. When Arnie's skin burnt off and then his cyborg rises from the ashes. It's CGI. You're so scared from just how he looks that you just literally just disregard the special effects.
Right. Well, James Cameron, man, that guy, I don't know how I forgot his name earlier, but yeah, man, that guy is something else. Everything he touches is amazing, is gold. But yeah, how he did that with I just was thinking about like how Arnold is shooting his shotgun, right? And it goes into the guy's face and it boom, boom. Yeah, that's some amazing effects.
But I will say one thing about James Cameron. Unfortunately, he makes the legendary ones. Unfortunately, the franchises kind of suffer after that.
Yes. Like Aliens. Yeah, like Terminator 2 and Aliens 2 after that. Those franchises hard to top James Cameron.
Well, Avatar might be on there because apparently it needs $2 billion just to break even. So,
oh my gosh.
That's what I've heard. Whether it's true or not, only James Cameron and the studio can confirm that. But
wow. Well, now James, I think he directed 2 and 3 at once, right? So he has the first one, and then he directed 2 and 3, and then now did he also direct 4 already?
I'm not sure, but I know there was plans for about 5 in total.
Wow. I did see something where he shot some of the kids already that will be in 4, I think. Yeah. At any rate, yeah. So because he had to get them at a certain age, that's what it was. Yeah. So it does sound like it's going to be pretty amazing, quite an event, that's for sure.
I'm sure Avatar's out this week because it's been having its premieres.
Yeah, I don't know when the actual date is. It's got to be soon though, because I've been seeing some advertisement for it. Yeah.
I think it's December 16th.
Oh, okay, so very soon.
What's the date today? Oh, it's Friday. 11th. So that would be it's Friday actually, in every sense of the word.
Wow. Well, that's a movie worth going to the theater for.
At least we don't have to watch it in 3D. There is
no.
That. Right, Mr. Wayne, have you got anything coming up that you'd like to talk about that we haven't already discussed, or anything you yourself would like to personally promote? You can promote whatever you can promote your award-winning work if you like.
Oh, okay. Well, I've just found out I'm going to be a co-director again next year at the Seattle Film Festival. So I definitely want to promote that. I had a great time. We had Getty Images, we had interviews, we had media. We had wonderful films at the Grand Illusion. We had a boat ride cruise for a meet and greet to start out the festival. And we had an award show gala that was just a lot of fun. And so I want to definitely mention that. And then I have a couple projects that I was in the works for, and then a couple that I actually wrote. And so those are actually going to be, in essence, kind of a horror film, which is a little bit different than my forte, which is more like thriller noir. So it just kind of my script that I'm really interested in doing kind of evolved into a horror film. And so, like I said, I'm going to keep my options open. So if I can do it, anything like the films that you mentioned, the iconic films, those from those legendary filmmakers, I would be it's ecstatic. So that's where I'm headed. And horror is not really my forte in the past as far as watching films, because when I watch those, I'm in fight or flight mode, and it can be a cheesy horror film and I still get into fight or flight mode watching it. Yeah. Dean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, if you need any ideas for horror, my head is at your disposal.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Let me do a little polish on my last draft, and I might be sending you. And you can give me your thoughts, because it delves into a certain world, and I'll kind of explain that to you. We'll do that and then maybe afterwards, if I get into pre-production there, we'll talk about it maybe on your podcast or again sometime.
One more thing, you need to look no further for cheesy horror than Mr. Fraser, because he is a big Bruce Campbell fan.
Oh man, love Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
You love it. Evil Dead, is that one of your favorites, or what's your favorites of Bruce Campbell? What was that?
I'm sure about
Evil Dead, Baba Hotep.
Oh yeah.
Although we sort of have the odd disagreement about which Evil Dead is best.
Which one do you think, Dean?
I am of the opinion that Fede Alvarez's recent one is, and obviously Mr. Fraser being the die-hard Bruce Campbell. Please let me have your babies is Sam Raimi's original. We sort of
love it.
I won't say we have disagreements. We just kind of go back and forth with why one's better than the other. But the one thing we can agree on is that we will never differ from what we think.
So you can't sway each other, not
No.
so much. Okay.
No. Well, put it this way. Mr. Fraser will confirm this as well. I hate reboots. I generally hate. But when you have one that I feel, and I'm saying this I feel so we don't get into argument again, when you feel that tops the original, and this is the only time this has ever happened, then that must be saying something about it.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Bruce Campbell. Love Bruce Campbell. So I'm sure you loved his cameo in Spider-Man. I know you guys mentioned Spider-Man earlier with Sam Raimi's. Yeah. That was fun to see. He was on that TV show for a while there too, wasn't he?
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's seen them all.
Yeah, well, you know what? He would be wonderful to have in a film. I'll have to find out if I have a part that would be suited for him perfectly. So
nice.
If you invite Mr. Fraser onto set when Bruce Campbell's there, he will be your best friend for the rest of your life.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to put everything I have to get Bruce Campbell. So yeah, that would be amazing.
Oh, what have I created?
Well, there's an amazing show he did. I don't know if you've seen it, Briscoe County Jr. He plays a really resourceful sheriff in that show. It's amazing.
Yeah. That was kind of that was kind of a comedy a little bit, right? That was it's jogging my memory. Yes. Yeah. That might have been the first thing I've seen him in, actually. Maybe that was the first thing. It might have been. Because I don't think I saw Evil Dead until later. Yeah, until later in life. Yeah. Evil Dead. I think I might have seen Evil Dead 2 before. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that might have been the first one. Yeah.
Because I think the thing with Evil Dead 2 is, as far as I go, we needed an Evil Dead because I grew up in the whole video nasty era, and Evil Dead was outlawed for a lot of years. So the only Evil Dead we had, unless you had it stashed somewhere, was Evil Dead 2. And I remember, because we were going to Alton Towers theme park, which is about 40 odd mile away. We were watching Evil Dead 2 at night. I just remember falling asleep. I'm like, God, it must have been that bad if I was falling asleep.
Yeah, because I think it was the Evil Dead I saw first, because I remember him saying after all, I'm a man and you're a woman, and he did that. Do you remember those quotes he was doing? in that?
Yeah, where he's
two?
like, "I'm a man, you're a woman."
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
one
So
of my
I think that
favorites.
was yeah, I think that was definitely Evil Dead 2 then. That would have been that one that I saw first. Yeah. God, that was some movie. Those
I know.
guys.
For Mr. Fraser's benefit and mine and everyone else's, have you got any social media? I actually have what I think is your Instagram. I think it's your Instagram, but don't quote me on it.
Yes.
Does it go by the Insta name of William Wayne Director?
That's correct. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And you are now followed by Final Cut, sir.
What was that last thing you said? Sorry.
You are now followed by Final Cut, so if you look on
Oh, okay. Oh, good, good, good. Thank you. Okay, I will follow back ASAP. Excellent.
Right.
And then I also have another Instagram, which is Los Angeles the movie. I believe it's Los Angeles the movie.
That is actually on your bio as well on your Instagram.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yeah. Or yeah, is it Los Angeles the movie? I'll have to just double check that. Or maybe it's yes it is. Okay, very good, very good.
Yep.
Awesome.
So they've both been followed by Final Cut. Or is there a third one that you haven't told us about yet?
Right. No, that's it. But you can also follow. I know that we have the festival. What is that one? I think it's like Seattle Film Festival. I think it's listed under. Let me check. Let's see what they have it as. Yeah, I think the Instagram for the Seattle Film Festival is Seattle Film Festival. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I should have these memorized. Yeah.
Film Festival, you're right.
Okay, good, good.
Arts and Entertainment, the SeattleFilmFestival.com, followed by you, Los Angeles the movie, and one other.
Oh, okay, so, that's it. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Last one because I literally said, "Is there any more?" Then he gave me another one. Then he said, "Is there any more?" Then he gave me another one. So is there any more, or is that it?
Oh, that's it. Well, I'm not in charge of all of them, but I'm just in charge of William Wayne Director and Los Angeles the movie. Yes.
Fair enough.
So, yeah,
right. Just a very mini quiz because I know we've been talking for ages. So I'm going to give you the odd one or two. So, but I do want to check something out because I actually know this for a fact. Right? IMDb isn't exactly what you would call reliable sometimes. I'll put it this way: that's where I got the cinematography error from because IMDb actually said you'd actually done cinematography before.
Oh, I have done cinematography, but not for Los Angeles.
Yeah. So I've only got 4 bits that the IMDb would give me access to. So
okay.
You are the producer of Reed, RWED, 2012 winner of the Award of Excellence at the 3C Media Film Festival for Best Short Film.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was directed by Anna Maria Manso, and so I acted in that one, and I was a producer, and that was like a project from community college, and yeah, it just kind of like evolved, and it did really well at film festivals, and that was kind of the beginning of my filmmaking, actually, of being on that side of the camera.
It says worked 2 years for Lionsgate, which we've already been through, so I don't need to carry that on. Winner of Best Documentary for W.M. Wayne's Honor Flight of a Glendale International Student Film.
Oh yeah, that was a documentary I did actually, and it's about World War II veterans, and so they bring them back to DC and they see the memorial, and that was a really kind of an amazing time to see, and they really honor the veterans. I was honored actually just to be a part of that.
And the last one is recent graduate of University of Washington.
Oh yes, now I'm not so recent now, but yes, that's where I graduated in communication, so speech communication specifically.
I literally put that down to somebody at IMDb doesn't keep it up to date because when they time it was recent, but obviously depending on when that was, it's not really recent.
Exactly. At one time it was recent, yeah. And I know that they have like listed, that my movie premiered at the Method Fest. Let's see, and it opened in Pasadena. In like June 14, 2019, and had some other things there, but those are kind of nice, some nice highlights. Yeah.
Right, just 2 more questions, and they will be my 2 favourites. So Mr. Fraser can
Okay.
actually do this time. So my usual why am I so popular? So you have 5 missed calls from 5 different people, but you can only call two of them back because you like 2 of them, but you hate the other 3, even though you probably don't. But tough choices must
So I
be
can
made.
only call 2 of them back. I can only call 2 of them back. Is what you're saying.
So your
Okay.
choice for actors from the John Wick franchise, and this is, to be honest with you, I know what mine is.
Okay.
To work are Fraser. By the way, Fraser hasn't seen these choices, so his
Okay.
reaction will be genuine.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves, Lance Riddick, who plays, I believe his name's Sharon. He's the receptionist of the Continental. And obviously, we can't mention the Continental without its owner, Ian McShane, the brilliant Ian McShane. Halle Berry, who was in John Wick 3 and owed Keanu Reeves a debt, which has now been paid. And Mark Dacascos, who spent majority of John Wick 3 trying to kill him. So, actually, before we start,
Wow.
Fraser, who would you call back?
I call Keanu Reeves. I feel like if you shun Keanu Reeves, who's like the nicest guy in Hollywood, you're gonna get in trouble. And do you want to see the man from Tai Chi show up and be like, "So you didn't return my call"?
All right, and then you get one more.
I probably call the guy that runs the Continental, just in case, because you want that sanctuary.
Now, you see, the thing is, Fraser, Mr. Wayne has actually told me his choices. So, would you like to tell Mr. Fraser what your choices were before he came on?
I picked the exact same. Although, I mean, Halle Berry, I don't know why I passed upon Halle using that one for the phone call. But I also picked the same, Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane.
No, nice. I picked Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane, and that's actually the 2 I would go with. Because obviously Keanu Reeves is Keanu Reeves, and my sister would never forgive me if I didn't. And the other thing is, you may or may not know this, but Ian McShane used to work in England before he came to America. And I always remember there's one TV show he did in the 80s. It was called Lovejoy, about an antique stealer. Obviously, he was a lot younger than he is now. But I always used to watch it, and I always used to like Ian McShane in it. Not so much for TV series, but I think it was just McShane's demeanor that he actually could own a series. So Ian McShane has kind of been like a... I'm trying to think, when did Lovejoy come out? I'm sure it was about 88 or something like that. So it's been like a 35-year quest for me to actually have Ian McShane, or at least meet Ian McShane. So that is probably the biggest one on the top of my book, I'll say the Mount Rushmore of my bucket list. I do have a lot, but Ian McShane is actually on my Mount Rushmore to interview, which I hope I do get to do at some point.
I think the first time I saw, Ian McShane, the first time I saw him act was, I think, in Deadwood. Yeah.
First time I've actually known him play a villain, actually, because in Lovejoy he was like he was actually more like a lovable rogue who romanced the odd prince trying to get the words out. He romanced a sort of every single person who had antiques that he actually liked. He would basically try to find a way to get rid of them. Obviously, being a TV series, there was the odd adversary. But Ian McShane, being Ian McShane, played it so well that you just didn't care. You just wanted to watch Ian McShane.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of games, I don't know if you know this or not, but there is actually a John Wick game.
Oh, wow.
It's called John Wick Hex. I don't know if you've played this, Fraser, but for those who have got PlayStation Essential or Extra, I forget which one it is. It is actually on PlayStation. It is on the middle tier, because there's 3 tiers. There's Extra, Essential, and Premium. I have actually played it, and it's not your straight up shooter. It's actually kind of like a third person shooter mixed in with a game of chess, if you like. It's actually quite good. I haven't managed to get all the trophies of it, but I genuinely do like it because it's more strategy than anything. So with that being said, let's move on to the gaming one, which you sort of have had a bit of a look at. So out of the 6 missed calls, you can only call 3 of them back. Are you calling back Insomniac, who makes Spider-Man? And Fraser, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, But in Spider-Man 2 next year, which is being released, they have cast Candyman himself, Tony Todd, to play Venom.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's
Great.
amazing.
Which
Oh, that is amazing.
I have found the most exquisite piece of casting ever.
We had a Tony Todd movie that was in the festival this last year. So,
Which one was
oh man, that's amazing. It might take me a minute to remember, but I'll get there. Give me a few minutes. Yeah.
In those few minutes, I'll tell you the other choices. There's Rocksteady, who obviously made Batman Arkham franchise, and next year Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which will be the final time we will hear Kevin Conroy's Batman. Although I must admit, I did hear. Was it Nathan who sent me the trailer for that Fraser? Was it you or was it Nathan who sent it?
It was Nathan that sent it.
It was actually quite a nice surprise. I must admit, I got up on the Monday. I was like, "Ooh, Suicide Squad trailer." So literally, you play it all the way through. A lot of gamers who want to play it and know of it know the plot, but they actually had Batman in it. And bearing in mind, this is the same universe as Arkham, and Batman's supposed to be long dead. So it was actually nice to hear his voice. And at the end, there was a thank you, Kevin, at the end of it. And I was like, oh, I can't believe we get to hear him one more time. So there's that. There's Activision, which makes the annual yearly Call of Duty game. Rockstar, who have been making Grand Theft Auto games since 1998, I think it is. Ubisoft, who make just about every single Tom Clancy game there is, and Assassin's Creed. And EA, who make Dead Space, Need for Speed, Star Wars. By the way, Jedi Survivor looks quite good. That's coming out next year. And they recently bought Codemasters this year, which makes F1, Dirt, Colin McRae. All the usual racing games that you can happily use on your PlayStation or your Xbox.
Wow.
I know there's a lot.
Wow. And so you can call 3 back, is what you said, right? Yeah. I would probably go with the ones that have the most related to movies. So obviously Tom Clancy's a novelist, but I would go with, I actually just saw recently The Hunt for Red October. And I remember reading that back in the day, but I mean, you just can't go wrong with that kind of suspense. And I just the fact that, that those movies were just kind of like so inspiring at the time for me as film and as an actor. I would say I would go with that one. The ones that made Assassin's Creeds too, Yeah. And then I'd have to go with Rocksteady because I don't know. I just couldn't. Although Activision with Call of Duty franchise, oh man, that's tough. I guess I go with Rocksteady, Batman. How can you pass up Batman and Arkham?
You can't. You've still got one more.
Oh, I have one more.
You have one more.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case,
Rocksteady.
Of course, Grand Theft Auto would be an amazing one. I'm gonna go with Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, because I saw that Michael Madsen had a new one out there with Danny Trejo and some other 90s stars. That would be the one I'd want to film.
Not to mention the fact that, GTA's never had a movie as such. It's had obviously games, but it's never had a movie. Spider-Man obviously has had so many movies.
Yeah.
And Batman's had so many movies. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but John Carpenter has actually said if he was going to make a movie of a game, it would actually be Dead Space. Carpenter's actually quite the big gamer, apparently. I was actually quite shocked at that.
Wow. Well, a lot of his movies, I bet, would be amazing, right? Like as games. I don't know if they are they? Like Escape from New York? Like the Thing must be a game, right? I wonder if The Thing is.
I don't think. As far as games go, I think some of them might have been done in the 80s, but as far as anything new goes, I'm not entirely sure.
Not as far as yeah. But yeah, some of his movies, and then of course he had the vampires. A lot of his movies would transfer really nicely to games, I think.
Yeah, it would actually.
That makes sense. A lot of sense. Yeah.
Fraser, would you like to do this outro and say thank you, Mr. Wayne, for coming on?
Thank you, Mr. Wayne, for coming on.
I'm going to say I don't want to hog all the Batman references there, so I thought I'd let one. William, it's
Well,
been
this
such
setup, I feel like he's going to pull something off the shelf behind him, and it's all going to open up as he goes down in the back.
Oh, right. I have that nice little right there. It could be the turn, and then bam, slide down like the old Batman style.
Yeah, Adam West style.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Oh, Adam West, love it, love it. Well, it was nice to meet you there, Michael and Dean. Thank you. Thank you.
And on that,
This was
ladies,
a pleasure. Yeah.
and on that, ladies and gentlemen, William Wayne.
Thank you.